This is 3 News Now, your daily update on everything Northeast Ohio with Stephanie Haney.
Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now on this Tuesday, July 26th. I'm Stephanie Haney here with your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you for being here with me for the stories that matter most to you here in Northeast Ohio. Here on 3 News Now, we bring you the stories that you are clicking on, reading, and sharing from our website and from our app. And we start off with news of another Hollywood passing. Leave It to Beaver star Tony Dow has died. This is 2 months after his family revealed to fans that he was in the middle of his 3rd bout with cancer. He was best known for his role as Big Brother Wally Cleaver on Leave It to Beaver. That was in the 1950s and the 1960s. He was 77 years old, and Tony's wife, Lauren Shulkin, had posted on Facebook back in May letting fans know that he did have cancer again. Was not specific about the type of cancer or the diagnosis, but this, as I had said, is his 3rd bout with cancer. So in an official Facebook page post today, the management team confirmed that he had died this morning. Here's that statement. Tony was a beautiful soul, kind, compassionate, funny, and humble. It was truly a joy to just be around him. His gentle voice and unpretentious manner was immediately comforting, and you could not help but love him. The world has lost an amazing human being, but we're all richer for the memories that he has left us. For more about Tony's career, you can find that on WKYC.com. And there is photos circulating around the internet today. Akron police have released photos of a suspect wanted in an ambush shooting at a Circle K. So they released the photos, which we have on WKYC.com. It happened on Saturday evening in the parking lot of a Circle K on Kenmore Boulevard. So in the new details released today, we're learning that police say that the suspect was hiding behind dumpsters and opened fire on the victim, shooting the victim 6 times, and that was around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Officers were able to use emergency care on the person, including applying a tourniquet until emergency medical services arrived. So the 21-year-old man was taken to an Akron hospital and he had emergency surgery, currently listed in serious condition. That's according to the Akron police. So anyone with information about this is asked to call the Akron Police Detective R. Dunny, and that's at 330-375-2490. The Akron Police tip line is also 330-375-2-TIP, or Summit County Crime Stoppers. That number is 330-434-COPS or 2677. You can remain anonymous with tips. Now, if you see the suspect, Akron Police are saying he should be considered armed and dangerous. Do not go near the suspect. They are saying call 911 and call one of those tip lines. Again, we have those on WKYC.com. Now, today, Cleveland police officer, we are learning, has pleaded guilty to threatening people inside of an Akron bar. So this is stemming from an incident in October of 2021 in which the officer, Sean Bannerman, is accused of threatening to shoot patrons while off duty. So he had pleaded last month, we're now learning, to 2 charges: illegal possession of a firearm in a liquor permit premises, that's a 3rd-degree felony, and also operating a vehicle under the influence, that's a 1st-degree misdemeanor. So as a result of this, Judge Allison McCarty sentenced him to 1 year of community control. And if he doesn't comply with the conditions of that community control, he could be sent to prison for 3 years. So this happened on Ray's Pub on West Market Street in Akron. It was on October 29th. And according to witnesses, Bannerman is accused of threatening to shoot everyone in the bar at one point, lifting his shirt and flashing a handgun in his waistband. He was later apprehended by police. The police found the Cleveland police identification on him, and it was later believed that the weapon that he had was his officer-issued weapon. So again, sentenced to 1 year now of community control. Other important cases that are happening right now: the trial of Michael Amiott for excessive force, a former Euclid police officer. This is stemming from an incident in 2017 with the victim in that issue being Richard Hubbard. We have that. We have continuing coverage of that on WKYC.com. Also, the trial for the murder of Cleveland police officer Shane Bartek, who was shot on New Year's Eve. Tamara McLeod is facing those charges, and we have continuing coverage of that trial on WKYC.com. Now, looking ahead to next week, Ohio's August 2nd special election is coming up. It's a special primary election, and if you want to be prepared for what you need to know on that ballot, we have your guide on WKYC.com letting you know when the polls are open, what will be on your specific ballot, when the results will come in. We have the answers to all of those questions. So here's a few things that you need to know. That will be on Tuesday, August 2nd. As I said, polls open at 6:30 a.m. They close at 7:30 p.m. As long as you're in line before the polls close at 7:30 p.m., you are entitled to vote. So remember that. And you may remember the state's been having some issues with redistricting maps. Not able to get those past the Ohio Supreme Court. So several races were delayed from our usual scheduled May 3rd primary election. That includes candidates for running for seats in the Ohio House, the Ohio Senate, and the State Central Committee. So those are now part of the August election. So go to WKYC.com. We have links there. You can find your polling place. You can also see a sample ballot for your particular area. We are learning a little bit more about where the money is coming in these Ohio races. The co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, has spent quite a bit of money in Ohio. He's poured more than $82,000 into Ohio's statewide and legislative races this year. That's according to campaign records. So that makes him the second largest individual donor in the state in politics this year. That's according to an analysis of state campaign finance records. So he's only behind Virginia Reagan. Virginia Reagan is an heir to hundreds of millions of shares of a Delaware County shipping and manufacturing company, and Virginia has given millions over the years to Ohio Republicans. Hoffman's donations seem to favor the Democrats. In February, however, he gave $13,700 each, that's the legal maximum, to Governor Mike DeWine and Secretary of State Frank LaRose. Both of them are Republicans. He also gave the same amount to 4 Democrats running in state legislative races. We have more details about who his donations have particularly benefited on WKYC.com. However, we did learn through a spokesperson that Hoffman is regretful for the donations given to LaRose, and that's because of recent public statements seeming to be in support of election fraud claims that underpinned former President Donald Trump's efforts. In an interview, he said that since 2016, Hoffman had given to candidates with a primary focus on supporting the rule of law, translating that into supporting Republicans who had pushed back on efforts from former President Trump, who had sought to subvert the election results of the 2020 election. So for more on the particulars of Hoffman's donations, you can head to WKYC.com. Now let's turn to baseball, as the Cleveland Guardians have been mentioned as a potential suitor for Juan Soto. This is as the trade market is kind of heating up for the Washington National star. So Joel Sherman of the New York Post and MLB Network mentioned some of obvious candidates for Soto: the St. Louis Cardinals, the Seattle Mariners, and the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. But then he also mentioned potential dark horse candidates, and in that group he included the Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians. Here's what Sherman said. They have the prospects. There's a door open to make the playoffs this year. They have the future years. And because you have him for future years, if for any of those years they feel their payroll is off or they're not going to make the playoffs, they could trade him again and recoup a lot of the prospect collateral that they'd give up here. Interesting possibility. We have another article on WKYC.com that outlines 5 possible targets for the Guardians ahead of the Major League Baseball trade deadline. That's coming up on our election day, on Tuesday, August 2nd. That's the trade line. So, somebody else in possible contention, Wilson Contreras, a center for the Chicago Cubs. So the Guardians at catcher seem to be a bit of a need here. The combined average for the catchers right now for the Guardians is a 172 average so far for this season. So with Contreras, since his rookie year in 2016, he's become one of the National League's consistent offensive catchers. He's made 3 All-Star squads. He had 14 home runs this season. He would be a bit of a downgrade defensively with 4 defensive runs allowed so far. But he will also be a free agent after the season. So he doesn't come with the long-term control of a guy like Soto, but that also means the asking price would be less and could fill a demand in Cleveland's starting lineup. ESPN's Jesse Rogers listed the Guardians as a possible destination for Contreras. That was on Monday. So if you want to see 3 more possibilities, head to WKYC.com there. Now, something that is not a possibility is seeing the Cleveland Browns in an alternate white helmet for the 2022 season. There had been some speculation that maybe that could be a possibility with the NFL opening up the rule and allowing an alternate colored helmet this year. And it would be part of the Browns' original uniforms, going all the way back to the 1940s. But it has become official that there are 14 teams that will be wearing alternate helmets during the season, and the Browns are not one of them. But that doesn't mean that they didn't get in on the conversation. One of those 14 teams will be the Chicago Bears, and they will be wearing an orange helmet, which has become synonymous with the Browns. So the Browns quoted their tweet announcing the orange helmet, and they said, "Oh, nice helmet color. Where'd you get that idea?" So trolling the Bears a little bit there. Another team that will have an alternate helmet color, the Carolina Panthers. So you'll see Baker Mayfield in at least 2 different helmets this season. One of them will not be orange because he has been officially traded from the Browns to the Carolina Panthers, and also showed up, by the way, to Panthers training camp today. Now moving on to our top-ranked medical facilities here in Northeast Ohio. Cleveland Clinic is ranked as the 4th best hospital in the U.S. and number 1 for heart care. That's according to U.S. News and World Report. So Cleveland Clinic's main campus has consistently been ranked in the top 5. Last year it was number 2, so this year number 4 overall. But it's been the top 5 for 24 straight years, according to this U.S. News and World Report ranking. This is out of 4,500 hospitals. We are very lucky to have such world-class medical professionals right in our backyard. And again, the best for cardiology and heart surgery for the 28th year in a row. That is an impressive run. The Cleveland Clinic is also ranked in the top 5 in 5 other specialties, and with 7 more in the top 10. So congratulations to those professionals at the Cleveland Clinic. Again, very, very lucky to have them here at our disposal for our medical care. And if you've been following Jeopardy, we do have some reports that they have made a decision on who the permanent host will be. And by who the permanent host will be, I mean who the permanent hosts will be, because multiple reports are saying that Mayim Bialik and Ken Jennings will continue to tag team as hosts of Jeopardy with the daytime hosting duties. And then Mayim Bialik will do Jeopardy primetime and spin-off series. That's according to Variety, a TV Line report. And we haven't had any official announcement with cited sources, but we are hearing from Deadline reports that the deals are still being finalized. So this season is wrapping up on July 29th, and then we'll see new shows airing beginning September 12th. And speaking of hosts and anchors, we have exciting news here at 3 News. Former CNN anchor Christi Paul is joining the 3 News team this fall. She's from Bellevue, Northeast Ohio native. So she'll be here, and she'll be sharing in reports and anchoring in the early news block. So that'll be on the 5 p.m. What's New broadcast, and also 3 News at 6 p.m. and then contributing content across all shows and our digital platforms. You're familiar with the name Christi Paul because she spent weekend mornings anchoring CNN's New Day for the past 9 years, plus reporting and anchoring for HLN during the week since 2003. So here's what Christi had to say about coming home. WKYC is the station I grew up watching and tuned into every time I visited home. Who knew it would become a full circle moment now? I'm beyond grateful I'm getting a chance to come home and work with this most amazingly talented team. And she is coming home with her husband and 3 daughters, and we are very excited to welcome Christi to the 3 News team. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, July 26th. I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.
Thanks for listening to 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney from WKYC Studios. Subscribe now so you never miss an update, and find more on everything you heard here on WKYC.com and in the WKYC app.